This argument comes from the Republic, written by Plato, one of the most influential philosophers of all time. And even today, we still don't have a clear answer what the justice is. What makes this even more interesting is that Socrates, Plato's teacher and the founding father of Western philosophy, might actually lose this argument. Now, let's see how. At first, the conversation is calm. Socrates is speaking to Cephalus, who quickly passes the discussion to his son, Polemarchus. Socrates uses his usual method, questioning definitions, exposing inconsistencies, and Polemarchus is agreeable enough for that method to work. It's controlled, predictable, until it isn't, because suddenly Thrasymachus interrupts, a sophist known for his bold and confrontational style, and completely changes the tone. He doesn't argue, he declares, justice is nothing but the advantage of the stronger. Just a claim that immediately reshapes the entire discussion. But what does he actually mean? His logic is simple. There are many governments, and no government creates laws that weaken itself. It creates laws that protect its position and increase its power. And what happens if people don't follow these laws? They're punished. So people are expected to obey, and that's what we call justice. So if rulers create laws that serve their own interests, and justice is simply obeying those laws, then justice is the interest of the stronger, not morality, not fairness, power. Power alone defines what justice is. And the more you think about it, the more examples you can find in our own time. Politicians who, under the pretense of fairness, take control and pass laws that give them more privileges. Countless examples across different places and different periods of time. So Thrasymachus doesn't sound outrageous, he sounds realistic. But Socrates pushes back. He starts with a simple point. Rulers are humans, and humans make mistakes. A ruler might pass a law that doesn't actually benefit them. And if people follow that law, then they wouldn't be acting in the interest of the stronger. They would be doing the opposite. So justice can simply be the advantage of the stronger. It sounds like a clean response, but Thrasymachus isn't convinced. He sharpens his argument with a clearer example. He compares rulers to shepherds and people to sheep. A shepherd takes care of sheep, but not for the sheep's sake. He might do it for profit, he might do it for food, or simply for his own benefit. And rulers, he argues, are no different. They send people to war not for the people's good, but for their own interests. People are a resource, something to manage, like a flock. I notice this. Thrasymachus keeps grounding his argument in real life. In reality, rulers think strategically. They treat people as something that must be maintained, but only as far as it benefits them. And this is where Socrates makes his most important move. He changes how we're supposed to think about a ruler. He introduces the idea of a craft. A doctor practices medicine, for example. A navigator guides a ship. Every craft has a purpose, not to benefit the person practicing it, but to benefit what it is applied to. A doctor helps the sick, a navigator guides the sailors. So if a ruling is a craft, then it must benefit the people being ruled, not the ruler. And then Socrates takes it even further. He separates ruling from personal gain. If a doctor gets paid, the payment isn't part of the practice of medicine. It's just an additional reward. So if a ruler gains power, money, or advantage, that's not part of ruling, that's something else, an additional reward. A ruler acting for personal benefit isn't acting as a ruler, he is acting as a wage earner. And this leads to his conclusion. A true ruler, properly understood, acts for the benefit of others, not for himself. But this is where the argument starts to shift, because Thrasymachus is talking about rulers as they exist in the real world. People with power, incentives, and self-interest. Socrates is talking about the rulers as they should be, an ideal version defined by their function. And in doing that, he quietly changes the meaning of what a ruler is. Now, if a ruler acts selfishly, Socrates can simply say, they're not truly a ruler. But that doesn't really refute Thrasymachus, it avoids his entire argument. Because if we go back to the real world, to politics, to systems, to power, we don't see ideal rulers acting purely for others. We see people balancing power, incentives, and interests. And in that world, Thrasymachus still holds his ground. He wasn't describing what justice should be, he was describing the world we actually live in. And Socrates didn't prove him wrong, he changed the argument. So maybe the real question isn't just what is justice, but who gets to define it. If you enjoyed this, I'll be breaking down more philosophical arguments and debates. So please subscribe and leave a like, and I'll see you in the next one.